Hi, good day. This is the 15th of January 2023. I'm currently um trying to work on the front end page. I was supposed to have finished this 2 days ago, but I think I took kind of a break and I'm back at it. It's the AdSense bots page. So I want to get done with it. Um, make sure it works perfectly fine on different devices because on mobile phone it's horrible. I want to also create a video section where I would upload free tutorials, like aside the ones people get to pay for, you can get like free videos. So that is what I'll be doing right now, and I'm getting into it. Okay, um, let's talk about software programming and how I got into software programming. So computer was my first love. I've always loved tech, but I think it was more of the hardware kind of tech. While growing up, I had this love for decoders. CTL, CTL was one decoder. What other decoder could I remember? Strong decoder. I think Strong came in later. We had CTL. We had I've forgotten them. There are a lot of them, and I would wonder the mechanism how you bring a board like circuit board. How this whole brown board and green board, what's up? And the funny thing is, then we had no one to ask questions. But I was just so obsessed with getting to understand how I could create a board, a board. I would bring up a radio and I want to know the green and the yellow. What are these things? And I was really obsessed in trying to understand how those things work. So I would take the little cash I have, little money I have. I bought a board, and but I don't know how to do all those printing. So there's this kind of board they used to buy. It's called an electronic board. There are lots of pins. Like you can put pins on it. You can solder things on it. I think it's called a solder. It's not a soldering board. I don't know what it's called, but it's actually a board that has lots of pins. So you can actually just put like all those indicator lights. Maybe do the little pet project, but I mean it wasn't like the normal, you know, circuit board you would see on reasonable tech devices. So I bought that kind of board, and I would buy a motor, and I would buy bulbs, and I would try to construct it. I don't know. It's not like today we have internet where you could simply go and make research and go learn something. Then there was no much data on the internet. Not a lot of people have gone into blogging, so the knowledge available was very limited when you Google anything. Then I will try to buy textbooks, intro tech. I want to keep reading. I want to keep buying textbooks. I want to read to practice, but then I also want to ask questions. Most of those language and those things they talk about on those textbooks are things that I would have learned sometime in future. Um, maybe my SS in my senior secondary. So then I had given up on tech, which is hardware, cause I mean I was just doing things and I wasn't having anything figured out. My mom got this computer then. That was this uncle of ours. His name is it Chidebere, and so they bought this computer for my mom because they said, oh, we want to be having what's it called again? We want to be doing anything that has to do with computer. Would often go to a cyber cafe. Cyber cafes then used to be a very hot cake. Like if you had a cyber cafe then, you had a very good business. And so my parents or my mom specifically, who does more things with that needs to be photocopied and printed, would have to keep going to the cyber cafe. So they bought this desktop computer, and it was, in her room. And I'll go there once in a while and I'll put it on. I can remember it's this desktop computer that has a hunchback. I think it was black color thereabout. The outdoor unit was a black outdoor unit, and we're using Starcoms. That was this ISP internet provider. Then Starcom, it was quite very slow. My mom she also bought a printer, so I would go there and I would try to like learn when they're teaching her to photocopy. So whenever there's any job again, they don't have to go outside to go to a cyber cafe. Where then it was something else on the cyber cafe. People are always crowding. Cyber cafes were like hot cake there because everybody wanted to use a computer. In fact, the only way you could even browse most times was if you either had a good phone which is a good Symbian phone, or you had access to a computer. And so most people who couldn't afford a good phone, obviously had no other option than to go to cyber cafes in order for them to browse. Because you want to browse yourself, it's more expensive. Modems then weren't that cheap. Internet was very, 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 very expensive. And so you just had no other option than to go to a cyber cafe. And so it was always crowded. So my mom was actually happy she no longer had that kind of issue. And I would sneak into the computer at night and I would try to, see how I can, how I can press. I want to press the computer as a child, and I was just so fascinated about it. And then when we were in school, we learned how Bill Gates was one of the richest men in the world. In fact, Bill Gates, with current affairs, then they told us Bill Gates is the richest man in the world and all that. And what does he have? He has Microsoft, which is Windows, and he's computer inclined. And then I was browsing there, I'll be seeing lots of, if I'm checking what the people in the world, I'll be seeing things related to tech, like Howard Spark, which is HP. I'm always seeing tech companies. In fact, I was actually supposed to be a hardware tech person because I wanted to be creating things like your printer, your mobile phone. In fact, while growing up, if my mom hadn't bought that computer, and maybe I found a way to go into engineering, I think I would have been an engineer by now. So then I knew of HP, and I started seeing that more people on the software end were making a lot of money, right? Like the Bill Gates, who was the wealthiest man in the world. And I started getting to understand that if I can somehow create a software as that of Bill Gates, maybe I would be one of the wealthiest man in the world. So there I was at maybe 11, 12, thereabouts, and I would sit down and I would keep imagining that, oh, one day I create a software like Bill Gates, I'll not be one of the richest man in the world. What will I do with the money? How do I even put it? I would have a very big orphanage. I'll have the biggest charity home. I would fend for the poor. I would do this. I would do that. I started thinking. Then I started getting to type because we had Bill Gates was a software programmer. So then we used to use Axe.com. It's not like now you guys have Google. Google was a thing there, but it wasn't really making a whole lot of weight. It used to be Axe.com, Mama.com. There are like other search engines then, or Yahoo search as well. So then I'll now go to Axe.com. I'll say, how do I be like Bill Gates? And I'll now say stuff like you need to be a software programmer to create a software that will boom like Bill Gates. What is software programmer again? Oh, they're the people who create softwares, the computer you're using, the operating system like one Bill created, the softwares you use, the utilities. These are all software. So at a very little age, I was like, okay, fine. So software, what does software really do? And I had that software was what powers hardware. So even if I had created all those bots, all those things I do, if I had even constructed all my construction, I used to construct like when I was 9, when I was 8, when there was not much information to the internet. So all those things, if I still construct them, I will need to load a software on them. Like there was a time I tried creating a project of a digital clock. I bought this small display. I bought a circuit board. I was trying to connect it so to be able to be working like a normal clock, a digital clock. I mean, I had bought everything, but why is it not working? Then informations were, very limited. I used to buy radio. I'll open the radio and I'll try to see if I can construct. I'll go and be buying all these instruments one by one. To like, I'll basically bring a radio, pieces, it, see everything, go and buy them in the market at 9 8, and I'll come back to see if I can construct that kind of radio. So, but basically, I was not just, I was not just really making a whole lot of waves or progress because then there's some things you need to solder, and some things you need to wire, there's some things you need that grain kind of board for, and I couldn't do that. So I'm beginning to understand that even if I had done all those things, like if I'm going to really create any device, I would really need to be able to write a software that would be able to run that device. That machines are what really run on circuits, and then it's usually one on zero when it comes to computer. Like basically, it has to be programmed, right? It works in a logic way. Like even the board was a logic board as well. I started getting to really understand that software basically runs anything that has to do with hardware, and hardware is just a dumb hardware if a software is not running it. And then I started getting to love. I started getting to like want to learn more about software. My first programming language used to be C++ plus plus, because C++ plus plus was everything. It was the easiest you could see. Everybody online was teaching C++. Plus plus. I learned C++. Plus plus. And from C++, plus plus, I started getting to Java, which is normal Java, and then Oracle database became a thing. Everybody was talking about Oracle database. People were trying to pay for their kids to learn Oracle database. And everybody was talking about how Oracle database is a database, and database was like a very big word, years ago. When you talk about I know how to manipulate database, everyone is already seeing you as one kind of a big king Kong. So I now went into Oracle database, which is with Java, and I started doing more, a bit for myself. So I started getting to code, love it, but then it was just something that only me was, doing. So I progressed. Symbian Phone came in, and I started hearing about creating apps. I could create apps with Java, and I love drawing. So I would draw cartoons, draw clip art, and I would always wish I could create cartoons. Like when I was growing up, I loved cartoons a whole lot. But how do I create cartoons like Saramari Jack? How do I do all those kind of things? I would draw them. I used to be a comic guy, so I would draw these comics. I would draw this cartoon. How do I carry this cartoon that I will always imagine? How do I put it into a computer and make my own cartoon? Well, like I said, everybody's lucky nowadays. You could Google things. And at one time, there was no Google, so I would draw, but I would keep on asking myself, how did they do it? I couldn't figure it out. So then I was not getting to understand that with software programming, I could create games and I could create 3D animations. In other words, I could try creating something close to a cartoon. So I now left cartoon and started creating games. I'll create Java games, which is .jar games, put it on my Nokia phone to run. I'll create Symbian games, and I would also go later to learn Python. I started using Python to create more Symbian apps. Now, before I knew, I became somebody who was completely into the mobile app development. It became beautiful. Free browsing was a thing. Everybody would tell you about Freedom, Opera Mini mod, Bot mod, Safari mod. WAP 3, WAP King. Those were like that era. And then I became so good. I started creating my own mods, my own free browsing. I started creating lots of apps. I started trying to work on different projects as little as I was to try and see if I can create my own apps like Opera Mini. I really did a whole lot that period, and I really advanced. I had issues when it came to compression. I was actually building something that could replace Opera Mini, but then I was being told I would need a server. I would need to write a compressing algorithm, because Opera Mini, if you open Opera Mini, it compresses a website that usually has high data. It gets compressed for Opera Mini. So there were like lots of compressing algorithm, lots of servers that will do that. So I couldn't further on Opera Mini kind of app. I couldn't create a web browser, and I dropped. And then you guys have luck nowadays, because tech guys have what we call funding. So then I had lots of beautiful ideas. There are lots of things I was creating, but who could fund someone to create the next Opera Mini that everyone would be using? No one. So that dropped. I left web app development, and I became focused on web development, because I mean then app wasn't a thing, right? People don't really like app. In fact, it's not like now. Everybody, the only thing people put on their Nokia phone, Symbian phone, or BlackBerry then used to be games. People only love games, pinging, messaging. So you can actually walk to a company and tell the company, I'm an app developer. Nobody gives a hell if you're an app developer. It's not like now everybody wants to create an app and put it on a Google Play Store or App Store. Like then, there was really nothing like apps were basically .jar and BlackBerry World or BlackBerry Star. I don't know how they put down, but people were not even that focused on creating app. Like nobody really gave a damn about apps. So as an app developer, then I wasn't really making anything, and I discovered that people who really make money from software programming were people who were offering stuff related to web development, which is like creating a website and all that. So I started getting to learn how to create a website. I started from what we call Microsoft micro front page. From micro front page, I was trying to learn how to use it to build HTML sites. I started learning how to build with Notepad. I think I started with is it Microsoft OneNote or thereabout. I started getting to write HTML codes, JavaScript, CSS, and I was actually trying to do well. Then I discovered I was good in coding sites, but not good in designing. So I started getting to like try to go see popular designs and see if I can create and clone those popular designs. I got good in web development, which is designing of websites. Then I had to leave the designing of website, and I went to full time, creating front ends, like getting to create like website webs what's it called again, web apps that'll be able to like call APIs to information. I became both a full stack front and back end developer, which is when I now went to PHP. So when I became very good in creating front end and back end, I started looking for more to do, because at that point in time I would create for churches. I would go to one church, another church, one business. Business when not even it was churches and school. I'll go to a school. Do you have a website? No. Mr. Daniel, if you have a website like your school right now, your school is so and so school, it doesn't have a website, it's not making sense. Can you see other school? They will now have www.thisinternationalschool.com. Why doesn't your school have a website? I can create one free for you. and I would create. I'll come. Then I had this uncle. Not really uncle. We used to call him uncle. Then he would come around. This other, should I just call a good brother of ours? He had a good photograph, a good camera. He would go. He was a good photographer. He would follow me. We'll go to the school. We'll take pictures of all the students. Snap picture of the school. I'll come back home. I'll design a website. Look for people who used to design. Then they'll help me design. I'll go and find template. I'll edit it. So and so international school. Put it. Then you will now see all their children. Even a school that doesn't even look like shit, I would make it look well. And the school, when I take it back to the school, they'll be like, "Wow, this website is very fine." Boom! I'll now give them quotation. I could actually spend like 20K then. For this 20K is even too much because I used to pay for 1 month. The only thing I pay for a year was the domain. So I pay for 1 month. The uncle, I give him like 3K, 2K then, and let's just say everything I used to spend, it used to be like 12K. And then when the school finally accepts, some schools will pay as much as 200K, for me to handle the whole website for them, like for a year. So basically, I've already created the website. It's just gonna be there forever and ever. I spent like 20K. The only thing I'll actually just pay more for was the hosting, which will not even take like 30K for 1 year. The remaining 150 was mine. That was the point I was handling so many schools in Port Harcourt because I used to be in Port Harcourt. That's where my parents, were from. So that's where my parents were, who were from Abia. So then I started handling a lot of schools in Port Harcourt, and I would go to Owerri sometimes. I was not doing that like a full time thing. They'll be calling me that website guy. So somewhere in between, I left it and I started hearing about what's it called again? Because I'm really good at creating software. So I started getting to hear about smart responsive softwares, like softwares that'll be able to like interact with you. I would see movies where you would see a computer talk to someone. The computer will be so smart. The computer will be so intelligent. Like like you see someone create a software that will be telling him you have Tony Stark, Iron Man, those kind of computer that will say, please tell me this. The computer is giving them suggestion. And I started getting to hear about artificial intelligence and machine learning. I started getting to understand that the Terminator movie was talking about computers being so smart, and when computers are smart, they can actually do so much. And I started taking courses on AI and machine learning. Then it was really very difficult because you needed a GPU majorly, you needed resources like data, you needed consistent internet data that was very expensive, you needed electricity. We all know what Nigeria is like, so I'm not going to go into that. So I'm one guy who was feeding from little, what is it called again? Stuff he was doing, creating for people, which is websites. I mean, how do I have money to keep sustaining myself? It was really very difficult. And I stayed in Owerri. There's a place they call Ikenebu. I stayed there a bit. Then a place they call Irete. I stayed in Irete very well. Or work with Irete. And while I was there, I was still getting to advance my AI. I would see boys will come around, they'll tell me stuff like, "Oh boy, you sabi create website, oh guy, if you go enter street, oh, if you do Yahoo, oh, if you do this one, oh, if you do that one." And someone gonna be like, "Those Yahoo shit is not for me." Like, I just practically feel I'll be one of the richest men in the world. I'll be like Bill Gates. I'll be like, then Zuckerberg was not making a name. I'll be like Zuckerberg. Like, why do I need to go and start thieving? And whenever they talk about thief and I ask how much did you cash out, I hear things like, "Oh boy, the buy cash out block, or how much? $40,000. I will now go and look at Zuckerberg stock, Zuckerberg what, how Zuckerberg don't go from 200 million to 500 million, make like extra 300 million for one software he just created where people be sending each other message. You're not telling me I should go and be doing Yahoo, that 30K is cash out. So then I started getting to the AI because I feel that computer programming was what will actually make me me. So I gave it every single thing that I can, put in my whole effort and every single thing. Jobs were not okay, which is AI. Little gigs are not coming in. Gigs like encryption algorithm, what's it called again? Little smart AI detection system. Little finance companies started reaching out to me. We want you to create a smart AI in our bank that'll be able to detect fraudulent transaction. Then those kind of work were coming in. You now check person's activity, what kind of business the person registered for, risk value, what's it called again? Security checks. I started getting to advance more in AI. AI was what gave me my first $5,000. We person say, I see 5,000 dollars for work. Oh, I see sure. Then I started getting to know, why is people not doing AI? Why is everybody not doing machine learning? Like, it was very difficult, it required money, but then the payment was too block, like it was too good. I even bought the car that period, like I bought the Lexus, like everything was so good for me that period. I was like, why all the programmers in the entire AI? Then I discovered that I was only making money because I was on freelancing platforms. So Nigeria, they don't even know what AI is or machine learning. They don't even understand that as Jumia is or as Konga is, they need a smart software that will keep understanding what people are searching for. If you go to Jumia or Konga, if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you won't get it. You can't just go, but if you go to Amazon, you can just simply say a blue boot for a car. Like you just have an idea what that thing does. Like something like a scooper for orange. Like you don't even know exactly what you want, but somehow the AI in Amazon will understand that this is what you're looking for. Then if you finally search for something and you don't see it, but later you now saw it, maybe you've been using so many keywords to search and you didn't find it, but somehow you found it, you add it to your check and you paid for it. Then Amazon will now start monitoring you. If another person still tries searching for similar thing and then they did not buy, the next buy that same product you buy, Amazon will just pick those similar things both of you were searching for, add it up to their AI. Whenever anybody search for similar thing again, to now bring that in. So this is like a simple algorithm, right? That works for Amazon. But Jumia and Konga, they don't even apply one single algorithm. So I still getting to understand that maybe that's why programmers they don't get to learn AI, because companies here in Nigeria they don't know what AI is. So in fact, if I'm even sending them emails that, oh, you don't have AI in your search parameters, your searches are very difficult, you might be losing out on sales because search is not easy. Oh, I opened an account here and I tried siphoning money from someone. There is no security for so and so and so and so. So, oh, you actually restricted. Oh, this your website, if I log in, it doesn't let me, but I can brute force it. There is no amount of time someone has to log in. Like you're reaching out to them because I later did cyber security. So you're reaching out to companies. Companies in Nigeria, they don't know what cyber security is. They don't even know what AI is on their website. So then I just understood that maybe that's why nobody was doing it. So I started giving AI more and more this thing. The 1960 bed became a thing. I started saying, okay, let me, aside from getting little job from companies, right, that was sustaining with, let me try and see if I can, you know, play game, which is get into sports betting. Then I knew of football pool, we see a football pool where I used to be then at Obibo, Port Harcourt. We'll be hearing stuff like stories like how somebody saw somebody dream, they give you a number for pool, and before you know the person plays the game, is now a multi-millionaire. So pool used to be something very, very popular. And then I now created a website called Real Naps, because in football pool we have this thing they call naps. Naps is like when you bring 3 games and you predict that those 3 games will play draw. Let me see the time. I'm supposed to go do something. No, hi, this video is even too long. Okay, chai. But let me just try and finish it up so I can do other things. Okay, so when you predict 3 games, it's called naps. Now, when you bring those 3 games, you know what? Let me just stop this and upload it, then do a part two. Let me stop this here. Okay, this is part two. There'll be a part three. I'm uploading part three after this.